Hello there, welcome to another episode of my Don't Starve Together boss guide series. In today's video, we're gonna be conquering the Shadow Pieces, a trio of bosses necessary to kill when going for the Fuel Weaver fight. I'm gonna be explaining the whole process of starting the boss fight, as well as all the preparing and equipment you're gonna need. I'm obviously also gonna show you a correct strategy and the optimal method on how to kill all of them. With that out of the way, let's get to the spawning process. Throughout exploring the world, you will stumble upon a set piece with a bunch of statues and a pickaxe. Mining them will slowly reveal the three broken marble clockworks, being the Clockwork Rook, the Clockwork Bishop, and the Clockwork Knight. Though you will soon realize that each of the clockworks is missing a piece. Which brings us to the next part, finding all three missing marble pieces and bringing them all the way to the set piece. Using each marble piece on its respective statue is going to repair it. All that's left to do now is to repair all of the three statues. While relocating all these statues, I will also talk about the moon phases. You see, this boss can only be spawned on a new moon, which always happens when the first number on the day counter is an even number and is followed by 1. With having repaired all the statues, the set piece is now ready for the fight. The key aspect of this fight is going to be movement speed. You see, this set piece usually spawns next to a path, but if it doesn't, it's totally fine as we can use the pitchfork to dig up the turf and replace it with cobblestones. These are going to give you a speed boost just like a path. Before beginning the fight, we're obviously going to need some armor and equipment as well as some healing food. For a weapon, I would recommend the good old handbat. And for armor, a couple football helmets should do the work just fine. When it comes to healing, I would recommend foods like the pierogi or the trail mix. These are very easy to cook, and if you're careful enough, you're not going to need that many. What is, however, the most important part of this boss fight is movement speed. So you're not only going to need a walking cane, but I would also recommend getting a Magiluminescence. Using these, in combination with the path or the cobblestones, is going to be enough to dodge the level 3 Rook's attack. Speaking of attacks, let's have a little rundown and take a look at each one of the clockworks and their respective stats and abilities. At first, all the clockworks are going to spawn as a level 1. The Clockwork Knight simply runs around and hits you with a melee attack. The Clockwork Bishop slowly follows you and teleports on top of you while turning into a swarm of bats, dealing continuous damage. And finally the Clockwork Rook, who teleports on top of you to perform a chomping attack. During this first phase, we're going to be targeting the Clockwork Knight. After killing him, the two other clockworks are going to level up. During the second phase, we're going to be targeting the Bishop. And after killing it, we're going to have to deal with a level 3 Rook. Now, you might be wondering, why are we killing them in this order? Well, that's because this order makes the fight more manageable and easy. And dude, to be completely honest, you don't want to deal with a level 3 knight. Well, now it's time to begin the fight. During the night of a full moon, take a pickaxe and hit one of the statues. This will result in all of them breaking and spawning their respective shadow piece. Please note that I'm using a Starcaller staff for the sake of visibility for the video. During this phase, the primary target is going to be the Shadow Knight, whom we are going to tank. All you really have to do is to keep moving to avoid the Rook's chomp attack and the Bishop's swarm attack. Whenever you have the opportunity, kill the Knight. After killing the Knight, the two other shadows are gonna level up. During this phase, the Bishop's attack is much more devastating. Whenever he teleports, I recommend running away in a straight line. Now, since he does teleport on top of you, he's almost always gonna hit you once or twice, but if you keep running, it's gonna be fine. The way I like to do this can be described in 2 steps. Step number 1 is to circle the Bishop until he attacks. When he does, outrun the attack and wait for him to turn back to normal state. When that happens, this is your opportunity to deal damage. The only twist is obviously you have to subconsciously pay attention to the Rook. With the bishop meeting its demise, we are approaching the most scary part of this fight, the level 3 rook. What you want to do during this phase is to get on the cobblestones or the path that you have close by. All that's left to do now is to chip away all of those 10,000 hit points by doing approximately 10 to 11 hits before dodging the absolutely massive chomp attack. And as you can see, this fight ended up being way easier than it appears to be. Let's take a look at some of the loot, shall we? As you can see, they drop some decent items like knight armor, a dark sword, and a bunch of nightmare fuel. But the main attraction here is the Shadow Atrium, which is one of the 2 key items to spawn the final boss of the Shadow campaign, the Ancient Fuel Weaver. If you want to know how to get the second item, make sure to check out my guide on the Ancient Guardian. So that's gonna be all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and see you in the next one.